Morning, Ashish.
Hi,
Morning,
Sean.
Kaz. How's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Not too
It's
bad.
it's pretty early there.
It is early. Hey, Dr. Neil. Hi, Sammy.
Morning.
Dr. Neil, you got your guitar set up there in the background?
Oh, yeah, that's when I'm in the home office, I in the coffee break, sometimes I pick it up.
That's nice.
Good morning.
Morning, Leela.
Good morning.
I got a text from Rachel saying that there was a crash on her way in, so she's going to be a little late, but she'll be joining us. And I think we just have. I think Chuck said yesterday he was going to join us. And then Randall was
Yeah, Randall's on the
tentative,
road.
right? Yeah.
He asked if we could record it so he could follow up later.
Okay. I'm trying to turn my camera on, but it's not working. It just keeps shutting off.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Hey, Kaz.
Kaz.
Hi, guys.
Okay. It just says my camera's not working. So apologies. Should we does anybody have a problem with it being recorded? That's
Nope.
that, or we can send out notes, whichever.
Well, that's why he wants to
Yeah.
listen to it. He's our note taker. That's why he wants to see the recording. So, but if
Yeah. You can go ahead and start recording if you want. Like, I think that's fine.
Ashish, do you have space on your computer for a recording?
I think it does remotely, so whoever has the account, they record and get it through that. But there's an option I can click on that if no, mine is disabled, so I think Leila will have to do that.
Leela, you want me to record?
Sure.
I'll send it over.
Sean. Okay. Well, should we get started? Do we Kaz, do you know? Have you seen Chuck? I know he's working remotely today, but have you?
Yeah, he's working remotely. He may or may not be available, so I think we can continue.
Okay. Ashish, you want to start with your site visit? How'd it go?
Definitely. So yeah, it went very well. It was smooth. It's producing data since I installed it, and I have contacted the website guy who helps us in hosting and processing the website related stuff. So the website is up on the testing location, and once we are satisfied, we will have it posted on the actual main Parallel 41 website. So I just shared the address with you guys, and if you want, I can just walk you through.
Sure, that would be great.
Okay. So here's one site, and other sites is just for the demo, but here is our NAPI site, and it started working on the 6th. So this section is the history, meaning the past records coming from the eddy covariance tower itself. So ETC, that's the actual crop evapotranspiration, and ETR, that's the reference ET. It's calculated using the on-site variable, the sensor readings. Using that, we calculate the alpha based reference ET, and KC is the crop coefficient. And on the right side, we have the weather forecast. So we are accessing one of the free weather API and getting the forecast for for next few days. And here we have the calendar date, so what we can set. So it's by default set to 1 day before, but you can set it to anything. So that's the end date where this chart would end, and you can adjust the number of days, how many days you want. So if you want more days, you can keep going further and up to beginning of the year, January 1st.
Okay.
Then KC, so that's again the crop coefficient in graph format. There's nothing going on. So if crop is doing well and everything is fine, so these numbers will go up, and so this is a ratio between reference ET and actual crop evapotranspiration. And precipitation, so there was some rain, I guess, so some precipitation. And I missed one thing. So here we can change the units, because farmers, they like to see it in inches, but whereas other scientists and we like to see things in millimeter, meter, or in the metric system. So that's what there are two different options for converting the units. And these are the vapor pressure deficit and the daily maximum temperature. So these both are the vapor pressure deficit. So it's a good indicator of how much is the potential for ET, and the temperature also tells us, and when we see a stress or anything going on, if it's too cold, then we see how it is affecting the ET. So just a quick understanding of what went in past few days. And here's the cumulative ET and precipitation chart, though nothing is showing up here because the season is just getting started. And if farmer is willing to share the irrigation data as well, so this chart should go hand in hand, how much ET is going on and how much water is coming in through precipitation or irrigation. So we'll have two graphs following each other closely. So that's kind of the water balance. And this is the cumulative growing degree days. Nothing so far because it is pretty cold so far. But as the season starts to warm up, the growing degree days will start to accumulate. So this is an indication that how much energy is available for plant to grow. So
What was the sorry, I think it's like the third graph. Yeah, the VPD.
vapor pressure deficit.
Okay,
So-
thank you.
Okay.
And so, when will you, so this is in the testing site right now
That's
that you
right.
put in the chat, but when will you roll it over public site?
Question for you. Uh,
Sure.
what about the login? Do you think it is okay like this for people to see? Because if we have a login enforced, so then no one will be able to see the graph, and we'll be restricting, limiting people from viewing. So a login for sharing the data or login for everything. What do you think?
I mean, I think we want folks to be able to see as much as they can see. So I would say just the login for
Downloading the data.
for downloading. And I guess my question is that something that you all would prefer to be protected or to not have a lot of access to? Is the ability to download? Is that your preference?
Yeah, that's what we have been doing so far. We make the
Okay.
graphs publicly available so people can browse, but they cannot download it. So they see there what's going on, but they cannot download and start using it as a research, and it's not open to everyone. So once we have quality control, everything ready to go, then that's a different thing.
Yeah, and I think the idea is I'm going to jump in here. I think, Leila, the idea is to have it downloadable through the Ameriflux site, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's going to lag quite a bit, right? I mean, that's okay. I think the difference might be the states might be interested in the access to the raw data sooner. But I think for now, let's go forth with that. And if we get a request, right, we can deal with it. I think you'd want to know. I'm sure we'd all want to know what folks were planning on doing with it, with the data, right? Like why they wanted to download it. But when do you think this will go to the live site or the?
We can put it in a few days.
Okay. Okay. Kaz, do you have any thoughts on this? Like you're more familiar with this data, so does this layout look good?
Yeah, yeah. I like the temporal variations, especially at this time of the year when everything is static. I'm happy.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, so you went to, so Nappy is the only one location, right, that has all of the sensors in. Did you install the PhenoCam
No,
there?
not yet. I haven't got the time to test it yet because I'm just canceling trips, taking the trip, and all that. So this is the the top priority right now to get the
Yes.
PhenoCam going.
The next path forward, or I mean, the next trip, I think, is scheduled to be here in the next couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think? So, do you have dates scheduled for that trip? And do you think is your goal to have the PhenoCam tested
Yes.
and take it out with that in that one? Okay.
Yeah. Well, next trip is going to be a little longer, so perhaps I will install the PhenoCam on one of the side where I'll be going instead of going to Napi.
Right. Yep.
So that would be saving the time and serve the same purpose. At least one side will start to function with Finnocam.
Agreed. Agreed. I think that's good. And so the next, do you have dates for that next trip scheduled and where you'll go?
Yes, just 1 second.
Hey, Rachel.
Hey, sorry I was late. There was a huge crash. I was on the road for an hour and a half.
Ugh, not fun, but glad you made it in. As he's just, while he's pulling up, he just shared the test site. So Nappy's up and running, and they just shared. And this call is being recorded because Randall couldn't make it, and he asked for it to be recorded. So you could go back and watch it too.
So
Okay.
this is just tentative. I'm just thinking I have to find out who is going. So roughly the next trip will be 5 days. And I am also going to look at the post-process data. So to have a better idea about, for example, La Plata. We want to look at the fetch, how good it is. Do we need to really relocate the tripod? Because you remember last time in my December report I mentioned that the tripod, we might have to move it towards north, and the winds coming from there, we do not have enough fetch. So there's a big barn further north, like 300 meters or something like that. So I want to look at the actual footprint analysis and see how we are doing, and based on that, and the decision would change the time, how much time we will be spending there. And the net radiometer also needs to be installed. Right now we just put it on the cross arm because cross arm was empty and we just needed the winter readings. So based on the post-process analysis, I'll decide how much time to take there. But yeah, for now I think it will be a 5-day trip, and this is what I have planned, and I guess you can see my screen.
Yep. I was just checking it. So you'll go to Olathe, La Plata, and Yellow Jacket on this trip. Okay. I think that works with the timing that the growers had indicated. Okay. Good. Thank you for that. Do you so I think the next thing on my list was Gunnison and data transmission, and I think you and Kaz were gonna
We already
get
had a
together.
meeting. Yes, we had a meeting with the USGS folks, and it was very, very helpful. They were very, very knowledgeable, and so one thing that the conclusion of that meeting is that we will use FirstNet. It has a unique signal wavelength that's not common to other wireless companies. So consequently, it is good in signal strength, and so we should be able to resolve our issue just using the FirstNet connection and installing a directional antenna. That should be that has a very, very high chance of getting the connection going.
Okay.
And-
Is first? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So it would also require us to purchase a higher spec modem, because that band 40 is called band 40. So this is not a normal band, so our modems doesn't support that. So we'll have to buy advanced modem. So tomorrow I have a meeting with AT&T and their tech support guys, and I'll explain my situation. And once they approve the FirstNet connection, because FirstNet is not a common people connection. So anyone can't get it. It is a very reserved. It is given to usually doctors, firefighters, or that kind of situation, police. So once they are satisfied with our situation, they will, once they grant the connection, then I'll go ahead and purchase the modem, and we should have it ready before we go to Guernsey.
Okay. Okay. So it will still be through AT&T, but that'll be your cellular provider.
Yes.
But it's it's a different bandwidth or something that
Mhm.
a FirstNet is.
Yeah.
Okay.
AT&T will be providing it, but it is a FirstNet. It's like Verizon, T-Mobile, so just like that, it is FirstNet. But AT&T is the selling party, something like that.
Kaz, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think everything is sounding fine. I've been having meetings with Ashish, so I know a little bit of this.
Good.
He
Well, yeah,
was
so-
encouraged it, so
Yeah, so that's what I was asking if you anything else to share. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad. I'm hopeful that that works and that we can get the transmission that we need out there. I know it's challenging, so thanks for working through that. Okay, Ameriflex. We did not get a date the week of March 2nd. So what do we have? We continue to get asked when will we see the data in Ameriflex?
yeah, so our postdoc person, she's working hard on that, and she has produced multiple, she has post-processed multiple sites, analyzed the data, energy balance closure, fetch, etc. So she says that by end of this month, all of the data will be processed, and she's also working on getting the format for the Ameriflux, and we are working with another professor to get the format in the required get the data in the required format, and by end of this month we should have it posted.
And also, because when you create an account in Ameriflux, you have to provide an email instead of having a personal email, because if someone leaves, then we have a problem. We're creating a Parallel 41 email through the university system so that all of the team can have access to it, regardless if people come and go. So that's another thing we're doing. So
Okay.
yeah.
But we'll all access it with our individuals. Is that right? Like that'll be for your
Well,
team?
yeah, once the
Yeah.
data, this is so that we could create the tower space within Ameriflux and upload the data, then it's public, right? Anyone can access it through Ameriflux, right?
Yeah, so we will be the admins, so we'll have
Right.
the right to
Yeah.
upload, delete, or whatever.
And that's why we need an email address that's continuous, not dependent on one person.
Right. Right. Okay, so we can tell everyone that it'll be up in Ameriflux by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Okay. We will let them know. They are anxious for that. So okay. And the date for the May trips. I think you had just shared your screen for the next one, and then I think there was one for the end of April, right? And you may not have those dates set, but just want to confirm you're planning a trip the end of April, beginning of May time frame for the other towers. Is that and for the install for Farson?
Yes, so I haven't gone that far and actually narrowed down the date, but just give me a few days and I'll create the calendar and share it with everyone.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, Sean will be up there, and so we just need to be helpful to have
Yes.
dates so we can block, okay, or coordinate calendars, schedules for that trip. I'm assuming for that trip, will you try to hit then the install at Farson, Gunnison, Bags, and Fort Bridger? At least those.
Yes.
It'll be a pretty big trip.
Yeah, I think it would be good to contact the farmer and find out the water logging situation, how deep the water will be there in Gunnison. Because in summer, when I went there, so the water was almost like 2 feet deep. So we need to find out what's the water situation there.
Yeah, well, and I think if you can get there before they start, I mean, I think that's probably your ideal, is to try to get that tower online before they start irrigating.
Yeah, because snow will be melting, so that's what I was thinking, that what will be
Oh,
the situation.
So, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because we weren't there until June 11th last year. And I think he had just started the week before with this flood irrigation.
Yeah, so I think if you can get there before then, snow's easier than
But
than
snow
water.
is colder, and having 2 feet of snow or more and start getting into our feet, then and then we have to ask a question: what are we measuring? Snow?
No, you just have a better chance of accessing the site not in water, right? You're not walking through water, you're walking on snow, which is a lot easier to walk on.
And there'll be a pretty good gap between, I think, the snow melt and the irrigation.
Yeah.
Has there been any discussion with Mel about dates for Farson yet, Leela?
She had said late April, early May. Well, she had said the end of April, so I was going to lump it in with those towers that need to be online late April, early May. Was what she had heard from the farmer about the start of irrigation.
Yep. Okay.
And the Wyoming and UCRC are working on the site agreements, so those should not be an issue. They've been drafted and they're being reviewed by the landowner and UCRC attorneys, attorneys for UCRC. So that should not be a problem anyway. Those should all be in place by the time you do the install. Okay. So the dates for the Flux Network website training, Rachel, correct me if I'm wrong, but we had talked about, is it April 11th and 10th and 11th?
Yeah,
For
let
that.
me just look it up real quick. I thought we did talk. Yeah, it's either I thought it was the 9th and the 10th.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were
Yeah.
going to propose doing the EC Tower training in the evening for people on the 9th, and then a midday meeting on the 10th.
So our thought was that we do 2, 1-hour sessions, that we would offer an early evening option, right, for folks, like for the farmers, for the landowners, and then we would dual purpose we have a team meeting, a bi-weekly team meeting with all of the state folks and attorneys for that starts at 1 p.m. our time on the 10th.
You are muted, Dr. Neil.
Where would this be?
This is the virtual training for the website.
Okay.
So we thought you would have, the other, more towers online by then, the ones in the south, and so there'd be more data to see on that. So I think similar to what Ashish just walked us through, a little more detail,
Yeah,
right?
a little
around
more exciting
Yeah.
with more real data. Yep.
Right.
With data
4
happening.
days of data.
Yes. Yeah.
With
Exactly.
things happening in the field, right?
Yes. Exactly. So, do those dates work okay for you all?
Sorry, Leila, did you say April or May?
Yes.
Which one?
April.
April.
9th.
Yeah.
We would like to send out, placeholders for folks to put it on their calendars and notice. So, if you can confirm that, Rachel, do you want to do like 5 p.m. on the 9th and then the 1 p.m. on?
Yeah, 5 p.m. or later, like 5:30. That way, we're grabbing people that might be working during the middle of the day so that they can join. And then the midday ones really probably going to be mostly the upper division states people.
Do you all need to check calendars and let us know, or are we good to schedule that? Send out invites. Ashish, Dr. Neil?
Yeah, Ashish is the one that really needs to be present. I have a master's defense on the 9th, but it's earlier in the day, so, and then on the 10th I travel, but I'm not the more important person to have present in this training.
Yeah.
Can you make the 10th? I do think if you can make the train, I mean, yes, I mean, you can be there on the 9th, but I think most of the state folks and potentially reclamation will be on the
So
11th.
what time on the 10th is that?
It was 1 o'clock our time.
Yeah,
You're
I
gonna be
might
traveling.
be able to squeeze it in. I think my flight leaves Omaha at something around 6 or something like that here.
Okay. Ashish, does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll get it scheduled. Thanks for that. Okay, dates for LICOR training. Rachel, can you remind me where we landed?
So it was going to be late May, early June. Kaz just recently sent out an email to the UDS to try and see what who should be joining and who should be available. As far as like time frame goes, I think we should probably shoot for. All right, I'm just looking at the. I think we should shoot for the first week of June. Does that work for you guys?
Yeah, I think Dr. Neil, you had said you were available just that first week and you were leaving. Is that?
First week does not work for Chuck. Never mind.
the week before that is
Memorial Day week. So I'm
Memorial Day week.
I mean, Memorial Day week works if it works for everyone else.
Yep.
We do it like
Is
the
that-
tail end. I just worry that we're going to have less participation because it's a holiday week.
What
I-
about the week before that, the week of the 19th?
Like what days on the week of the 19th?
Well, that's up to you and Lycor. I'd have to confirm with Lycor what days
Okay.
of that week they would have
How
to.
about Dr. Neal? How about we give you guys like 3 different options and you guys coordinate with Lycor on the options that work. And I think the 3 options are probably going to be probably the 21st, 22nd, 28th, 29th of May, or the week after. Would the 11th and 12th work in June, or is that going to be too late?
Yeah, the 11th and 12th, I'm not going to be around.
Okay.
I'm on an international business trip that week.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we may.
Yeah, I think we probably should shoot for the week of the 19th or the week of the 26th.
Okay, I'll contact Lycor and see if those 2 weeks are okay, what dates, and then likewise you round up the troops on your side, right?
Yeah, I think to some degree we're gonna tell them, hey, these are the days we're shooting for. People will either be able to come or not. But
How many people are you thinking?
do you remember how many people you put on your list? I think 1 from each state.
So all of us, I'm looking at about 10 people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. About 10 people.
Okay. I will email them as soon as the meeting's over with those 2 weeks at combo Wednesday, Thursday combos.
Okay. You like the Wednesday, Thursday combo? I think that's probably best midweek.
Yeah. Yeah. And my preference, well, I won't be there the week of the 19th, but I don't necessarily have to be there at all. So, but yeah, so let's shoot for whatever works for the group. So, that's great. Yeah.
And that's because of graduation. That's my hesitation around that time frame, is that it's the end of school, and so there's things that are going to hold people back. But
yeah, well, and I think then Ashish, you'll have to work around that training for getting Boulder and Cora up. Like that late May is the time frame for getting those 2 remaining towers online. But it could obviously flip. If one of those weeks works, then maybe you can travel the other week for that. For bringing those towers back up. Yeah. That. Do you know what Kaz, or do you know what Chuck's is? You said Chuck is out that first week in June?
yeah, he's going to be in Minneapolis.
Okay. Let's check those dates and see.
Yeah.
Well, if he's driving, he's coming right by here.
I don't know what he's planning on doing. I doubt he's driving.
Yeah. check with them. Okay, well, let's go with those 2 weeks, and if something changes, we can adjust. Kaz, the email that you sent out, was that just giving folks a heads up and asking for if they might be available, or?
He stepped away from his computer.
Okay. Wow. We'll move on. Okay, inventory update.
Yeah, so we haven't got the chance yet. As soon as I'm done with the Parallel 41 website online and the PhenoCam testing, then I'll go ahead and get the inventory.
Okay. Do you think that'll be done before or after your visit? Like,
I think I should be able to do it within this month.
okay. Be done by the end of the month?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. And then I think the last thing is the status of the on-the-ground support contracts for Jonathan and Mike. Is that right? Mike Dooley. Did you all get the information that I think UCRC was going to share
Yeah.
regarding Jonathan's contract? Okay.
Got that recently. Yep.
Do you have a time frame for, I guess, when you're going to
No, I
contact?
have to examine the paperwork and the existing contract, and then call him up and have a conversation with him, and then start putting it into place through the university system. It'll be done before the season starts, that's for sure.
But your plan is to contract directly with Jonathan?
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. I think that's fantastic. Okay.
And then I think Rachel and Kaz and Christopher, I assume then you all will coordinate with him if you want him to attend meetings or things like that, or are you just planning to use him just in the field kind of stuff?
Is he on your list of 10 people coming for the LICOR training?
Sure, he is.
That would make sense.
Right.
And I think we probably just need to discuss how that gets paid, whether it's paid by UCRC or paid for by UNL. But I think we could probably figure that out. We just need to coordinate.
And so it sounds like maybe Rachel, you and Dr. Neal and maybe Chuck need to have a conversation about that. And also the invoice. When I talked with Chuck yesterday, I asked him if he had talked with you, Dr. Neal, about that, if you all had worked through the invoicing, and he said no, not yet. So it sounds like maybe you all might be able to work through those two things. Does that work?
Yeah. So I was just wondering, Kaz, if you and Chuck and everyone are going to be in Salt Lake City next week, because I'm coming to Utah. So I thought I'd come stop by and do a courtesy visit and chat and talk about these things.
So Chuck is currently on like a quasi leave. His wife had surgery yesterday, and so I don't think he'll actually be present. But we might be able to coordinate. Like if he knows, he might be able to come down just for that visit.
What days will you?
Well,
Would
I'm in Utah all week. I'm tied up on Wednesday afternoon, and on Friday I'm giving a presentation at Utah State. So it would be Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday.
Okay, I will.
Thursday. Yeah.
I'll coordinate with Chuck and see if we can find a time that we can meet. We might end up just you, me, and Kaz meeting Dr. Neal
Yeah,
instead.
that's fine. I understand the situation. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I had on my list. Did others have things on their list that they wanted to chat about and discuss?
Ashish, did you get caught in the snow?
I was lucky that I barely skipped it.
It was a
Well,
big,
I had
big storm
to-
cycle.
Yeah, so there was one flight early this month. I couldn't go there because there was some problem with the plane, so it got delayed by 6 hours. So, but in the last trip when I went there, when I was coming back, so the snowstorm was just kind of following me, and by the time I took off in Durango, it was there a little bit.
That-
Yeah, but it was very windy and cold. So I have a video. I can share it with you guys, and you can hear the strong wind and that tumbleweed kind of thing. They were just rolling over the fence, getting inside the fence, and then flying everywhere.
Yeah, I think there was like some places in the Rockies got like 4 feet of snow that week.
Springtime in the
Well,
Rockies.
Speaking of snow, you guys are about to get hit with a big storm later this week, right?
Are we? I did not see that. That would be nice.
Yeah, there's a big one coming to hit it'll hit Utah Rockies and Colorado Rockies. And
Yep.
I'm aware because I'm driving that way into it.
I know. We'll see. You know, it was. I was flying back from a meeting in Las Vegas last Monday night, and we were supposed to get like 4 to 10 inches, I think, and it was blizzard. It was a blizzard warning here. Winds up to 60 miles an hour, and we got like a trace. It's a finicky place, that's for sure. So, but see, hopefully you'll have good driving, and if it does hit, you'll make it. You'll thread that needle.
Yeah, I will have my skis in the car, that's for sure.
Nice.
Awesome.
Hey, Lila,
Yes,
I raised my hand. Can you give me a
Oh.
minute?
of course.
Okay, thank you so much. So for me, maybe this was not part of today's agenda, but I just wanted to briefly report on some of the things that I and Ashish had committed to executing since the last meeting that we had. So number one, the remote communication system. I think that already now is in very good hands. Ashish was able to meet with the technocrats from the USGS, and I think they gave him multiple options ranked from the cheapest to the most expensive, all that. So I think that will be sorted out. Then number two, the yellow jacket. We've gone through all the possible places, and it is clear that Ashish will not be able to get anything useful out of the other places that I thought we could be able to relocate the tower. So it's more like moving from the frying pan to the fire. So essentially what I'm saying is we may have now to go for the other ultimate option, trying to find a new site in future for that site. Ashish, do you want to add anything on that?
Yeah, that's good. And I was looking at the footprint analysis for Yellow Jacket, and we can try one thing. I don't know if we'll be successful or not, but we can try and raise the sonic even further, and perhaps it might. So what happens is usually we go with 100 times the height of the canopy for the fetch. But since this is an undulated terrain, we can try and see what happens. If it increases a little bit, so we'll get something better. And on the side, we just keep looking, as you said, for an alternate solution.
Okay. So when you go out there in in a couple weeks,
Yes, I'll do that.
you'll raise the sonic
Yeah.
anemometer and
Yes, I'll discuss
Okay.
it with Dr. Neil and other research team and make sure it is a viable option and then raise it.
and then was it Mike that you were working with to identify potential sites not on CS2?
He mentioned
He had-
he can, but I do not know because I didn't get a green light from you guys that should I go ahead and start some agreement or something. But now since I had a meeting with Kaz and we came to this conclusion, so perhaps we should move forward.
Well, we talked about running in parallel, Ashish. That's what we had discussed. In other words, could talk to Mike
Okay.
and have him, give us the options, analyze them, and then, decide whether it's worth doing the effort, because then all the contractual thing would have to come into place, right? Meanwhile, we keep the tower as it is.
I think if we can get those sites. So the states, of course, want to be doing the outreach to the landowners. But I think what we had discussed with them, and this group had discussed on our last call, was that if we didn't think there was a better site, so I thank you, Kaz, for bringing that up because I missed that on the bullet list to discuss. So thanks for sharing your guys' investigation there, and that. So we'll raise the sonic anemometer, and then if you can work with Mike to try to identify some sites and narrow those down for the states to then do their outreach with the landowners, that would be great. So we obviously need to take that to we need to have some potential sites identified for the states to then weigh in on whether those are landowners that they have relationships with or not, or so that'll be Brian and Anna. Help with that. And so does that work, Ashish?
So I didn't get the point. So you are saying that you guys will work with the potential farmers and the contract situation?
Well, first we got to identify if
yes,
the
I'll do
site
that
is
with the Bible.
viable,
Yes.
then bring that to their attention so that they could work with the farmers. Okay?
Okay, got it.
Thanks, Dr. Neil. I realize I didn't say that very clearly, so I appreciate.
I think last time too we had said that they had already done a good amount of investigating in the area, so if they could share the information on their initial outreach as to not double back on some of the sites, is that right?
They being Parallel 41? Sean?
No,
Or they-
being the state of Colorado.
Yeah. Well, there was from the original sites, there was one that was potential. from the original group. So we could go back and look at that one again. Remember, Ashish? I'll show it to you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's a good point, Sean, because the state already had identified some, right?
Yeah, I mean, you may want to take a look at that, and then yes, if you all have that information, and then if there's anything new that you identify as potentials, then we can take those to the state folks. Okay. Okay, that's all I had. Like I said, does anybody else have anything else? Kaz, was that?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah. So, Prof, can you just email us the days you think you may be free and what times next week, so that it can help us
Sure.
prep to have you here in person? Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Leila.
You're welcome. Okay, should we plan to check in maybe after the next when would be a good time? In a couple weeks after your trip, Ashish?
Sure.
Sure. Go ahead.
I might have few questions about the dates for the future trips for all sites. So I might be just getting back to you because I said that by end of this week I'll have that schedule ready. So for that
That's
I might
great.
be having some questions.
Right. Yeah. Maybe how about the I was just looking at calendars. And what if can we get a meeting on the 7th, a call on the 7th that'll give you time to get back, and also will be that week of our Parallel 41 virtual training, so we can coordinate just on that before. Does the 7th work for?
7th of April.
Of April.
Yeah, that should be.
Okay. Are there any times that don't work that day for folks? Morning work. Does this 8 a.m.? Well, I how about 10? Which would be, I guess, 11 your time.
For me, it is okay.
Works for me, Leila.
Not an invite. An invite for 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Central on the 7th for our next check-in.
That's okay.
Yeah, I might miss that because I'll be returning from Brazil on that day, so I don't know. I might be in an airplane, so but you guys go ahead with the meeting, huh?
Okay. Is it better, Dr. Neal, to keep that time, or if we did it later in the day, would you have a better chance, or no? You'll be in.
Well, in the afternoon, I'd have a better chance. Yeah.
Okay. Does 1 p.m. work Mountain? So 2 p.m. Central, or 3 p.m. Central? What would Rachel? That works for you?
Hold
Dr.
on,
Neal?
let me.
Okay.
I'm checking the flight schedule. Yeah, the afternoon would work. I arrive in, if all goes well, in Omaha at 10:30 a.m. So
Okay.
2 in the afternoon or 3 our time would work. Yeah.
Okay. I'll send it out for the 2 o'clock if that works with everyone, and we'll let you. You'll be coming in hot. That's okay though. I think I think you're used to it. I think.
Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
get any easier as we get older. Tell you that.
Yep. Okay, wonderful. Well, and if as things come up, feel free to obviously share with emails. We can communicate and make progress in the interim by email. Does that work?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Leila.
Great day.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.